Hey, what's happening? How we doing? We're back again. This is live stream number 4, right? So we're live again on a Tuesday night, going live every week, Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tonight we got a couple of special guests with a lot going on. Obviously, I got my man Lee Sandt with me. How you doing tonight, Lee?
I'm doing well. Thanks, JR. How
Good.
are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm a little fired up tonight, but that's okay. We'll get
I know
into
you
that here
are.
in a little bit. I know, but that's okay. We're gonna move on with some stuff. We got a lot going on. We're gonna get into. We had a lot going on this weekend, actually. This weekend with the league draft sponsored by BowlerX, powered by BowlerX. That was pretty
Hmm.
cool to watch. Did you
It
get a
was
chance? I mean,
cool.
obviously you were watching that whole thing, right?
I watched the whole thing. Yeah, start off a
Yeah.
little choppy in the beginning. There, they had some issues with the broadcast, but I think in the end it turned out pretty fine. I kind of got a kick out of Bill O'Neill's questions and trying to spice it up a little bit. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but there were some interesting picks in there, so I know we're going to talk about that a little bit tonight.
Yep.
I know there's a lot of talk about some people who did get picked and were very big surprises, and then some who got left off. So yeah, it was a good
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. I think, I mean, I don't have a whole lot of opinion on it, but we might be able to chat a little bit about what kind of transpired there throughout the draft. And we'll bring in some other guests here in a little bit after we get through these first couple of topics here. But yeah, I mean, it was a good time in that league, and we'll get through that here in a little bit. But
Hmm.
you can still hear me okay, right? I just want to double check, make sure I sound
Yeah, you sound
okay.
good. Yeah, it's just a
Okay,
little bit bassy, but I think you're
that's
good.
okay. It's
A
just
little
that,
lower than usual.
that manly voice that I've got, it just kind of kicks in a little bit. But so first things up, I kind of want to touch on the first episode that we did. We touched on the layouts, right? We talked a little bit about layouts, what we
Yep.
kind of thought about them, and I just want to backtrack just a touch and go back to that conversation for a minute. And the only reason is, and I think it sparked a little bit of controversy. And I think it sparked a little bit of confusion with some people as well. I think people were trying to say that we thought layouts didn't matter,
Right.
and that's not at all what we were saying. At least
No.
that's not what I'm saying. I doubt that's what you meant.
No, not at
Um,
all.
I kind of want to regroup on this and just let people know that layouts do matter. Okay, here's how they matter, and here's how I'm going to kind of preface this. Layouts matter in a way of that initial layout, and I don't know if I can say this any better, but the first layout you do is what matters. Okay, anything after that, any layout you try to do after that, anything in between, if you come in with, and they decide that they're going to lay it out at 3 3/8 or whatever your max flare, and then you try to change it to 4 3/8, you're not going to see much of a difference. Not until you get a huge difference in the change in the core. Okay.
Hmm.
Now, I know some people will disagree with that. People aren't going to like that. Obviously, I got called ignorant, and that's one of the reasons why I want to bring this back up, is because a competitor of ours decided that they wanted to bring Mo on and do a video and say, well, what do you think of how they thought about these layouts? And the first words out of his mouth were pretty much to say, I'm ignorant. Ignorant for thinking that layouts are less important than what they are. Now, maybe it was because he thought that I was saying, or we were saying, they didn't matter, which is not at all what we were saying.
Yeah.
But the fact of you're going to come out and call me ignorant or I don't know, I'm going to guess it was more directed towards me because I kind of led that conversation a little bit. Um,
Could have been me.
so it could have been both of us. Who knows? But either way, being called ignorant, not the coolest thing in the world. So here's what I want to do. I went ahead and put some data together, and I want to show some people. I want to show the people watching, what truly happens when you change layout. So when you make a ball, and I'm going to use their video. I'm going to literally use the video that Mo made, and I'm going to use their video to show the difference between layouts. Now I'm going to pull this up. Let me go ahead and I'm going to share the screen here so you can see what I've got going. All right, so we're going to pull this, and I'm going to show you. Now, in the beginning of this is their video, okay? So this right here, let me make this bigger. Can you see that good?
I can see it clearly.
Okay, so this is the beginning of their video. Now, this is their Zing hybrid video. Um, and I used a couple of different of the bowlers in here, and all I did was just clip their video. Okay, so you can just so that way we didn't have to watch the entire video. These are the layouts. Okay, so both bowlers that they show use both of these layouts. So each bowler is going to throw a shot with each layout. Okay, same ball, and then we'll slow it down and I'll show you exactly what happens. So as we go through here, It's showing you the layouts. Okay, now here is the pin down version. And it clips it and shows you the direction of the ball at each part of the lane. Okay, and then directly in front of the pins, going through the pins. Okay, so now they're going to throw the pin up one. Here's the pin up version. Same thing, clipping it in the certain spots. So you can see exactly what the ball does or where it's actually going. Now you'll watch the full video. These are the shots going down the lane, pin down and pin up. Now I'm going to stop it right here. Okay, so now these next few clips, you're going to see, you may not be able to tell, but pay attention to the numbers over here, the ball. You'll be able to see that these are actually an overlay. Okay, these are both balls going down the lane at the same time. Watch. This is an overlay. Both balls, extremely different layouts, right? Can you tell a difference?
I'll be honest with you. I don't see anything in this.
Don't see anything there, do you?
I can't even tell there's two balls there.
Right, but it's a layover. Now here we go into, now I don't want people to say, well, that's, one example. All right, well, here's a second example. Here's what they use for this Katie Carey, I guess her name is. Now, remember, same layouts, same different person throwing two different balls. Much lower rev rate. Going to go straighter. And we're going to clip this and show you. This is the ball going down the lane, and this is where it's crossing at certain spots. And right where it goes in front of the pins. Now this layover doesn't actually work as well because I don't know if they move their camera a pinch, but this one it's just off by a smidge, but you can still get the gist. You still can't tell a difference.
No.
Go through. So that's that second one. That's the pin up one. Now you watch them in full motion. So here's the pin down one going full motion. Looks pretty good, right?
Yeah, it looks great.
Pin up one, full motion. I don't see much of a difference. Here's the layover.
Right.
Now where in this are we seeing a huge difference?
I don't know. I'm sure tomorrow, the next day, we're gonna find out.
And that's my problem. Yeah, I'm sure we will find out. But that's what I'm saying is, though, I'm going to present you with data. I'm going to show you. Those are two balls laid out almost a full inch different. They're 3/4 of an inch difference. And you look at the angles of them, the angles were extreme opposites, right? The front and the back angles were extreme opposites on them. And then you had a 4 1/4 and then a 5-inch layout. Mm-hmm. According to what some people will have you believe, those should show you a massive difference in ball reaction, right? That's what we're taught to believe.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing. Yeah,
that's always what people say. So why are we saying that they're that much different? I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. Now I see somebody, why don't you show the actual numbers at the end of each bowling showing the info? Because that doesn't matter, because the argument is about what you can actually see. Nobody's arguing that there is a difference. We absolutely know there's a difference in the balls. We know that if you look at the actual specto data or the data that they even show, you see a difference, but it's minute. It's really, really, really small. And is it enough to justify saying, okay, I think you need a 4 1/4 layout instead of a 5-inch layout to an average bowler who can't see the difference? We bowl all the time. We watch bowling. I can't see a difference in the ball going down the lane. So what the heck are we even doing here? Why am I having people coming at me and telling me that layouts are a huge factor in bowling? Now, again, I'm gonna
go ahead. Sorry, you go ahead. Well, I said you take that video and you hit that ball with a 2,000 or a 1,000 pad. Now we're going to see some difference. Exactly. Now it's going to be plain day. The cover stock is critical. The amount of friction.
Cover stock is so much. I'm not even going to put a percentage on it. I'm not going to say that it's 90% most important. I have no idea. I don't know what the actual percentage is. But I'm telling you right now, no data. There's that right there should show you that the most important thing is the cover stock. I mean, because those are two completely different layouts, and yet they don't look any different going down the lane. Now that's the problem. And you want to call me ignorant for pointing out that you can't physically see with my eyes. I can't physically with my eyes see a difference in those balls going down the lane. That's my point. It's not to say that they don't matter. It's not to say that they aren't different. It's just that an average bowler, which is who everybody is talking to, because that's the big mass majority of bowlers, that's who we are working with. That's who we are selling to. That's who we're trying to tell, like, look, this is what's different. And if anything, they should be on the same page as us, because their job is to sell bowling balls, right? So I want to sell bowling balls. I don't want you to think that you should be able to put 6 of the same ball in your bag and be able to play on a variety of different patterns, because that's not how it works. And I don't understand why we even got into this portion of it. And maybe call it on me for wanting to clarify this, whatever you want to say. But I want to make sure people are able to see this and show that there is no difference, really. Not that you can see, at least. Now, you want to pull up the specto data and look at it from one to the other? Sure. You see an inch difference on the lane when we're talking about 60 feet of lane. That's a big, big problem to me, is that we're trying to tell people that you can end all your problems by just changing your layout. That's just, and I have a ton of experience in this, because I've tried tons of layouts because of my issues with the ball hooking so early in the front. So, I mean, that's all I'm going to say on this. I just wanted to touch back on that. Lee, if you want to touch on it at all.
Not a lot. But I do want to say again, going back to the surface, I mean, when people come into the shop and we drill balls in the shop, I would say 9 times out of 10, if a person comes in with a ball and they want to see a different reaction, they will actually ask for a different layout. They will first question the layout. And people they're so quick to change that, but yet they don't buy an Abralon pad. Nobody wants to change the surface of the ball. I see that so much as far as league bowlers go, not knowing how to use Abralon or SIA air pads, whatever you want to use. They're afraid to. And really, that's where you're going to have a major impact on the motion of the bowling ball. Yeah. If I sit there and I plug that ball for you and I'm going to charge you for a plug and re-drill, 45 plug, you get some new grips and new slug, you're going to pay $70. I'm telling you, most likely you are going to see too small of a difference in the reaction to be satisfied with it. And I tell people that a lot. But it's still common that people want to change the layout before they want to change the surface. And
I mean, I used to think layouts were way more important. Honestly, I used to think they were way more important than they are now. And it goes back to, even Kevin Davis here points it out. He says, because you've said so yourself. Here, I'll even pull that up for him so he can get his claim to fame here. But because Mikey, I guess I said it wrong the first time. I called him Mickey. Sorry, I didn't mean to offend.
That was an accident.
It was an accident. So, but I will call you Mikey if that's actually your name. He actually clipped a portion of a video I made. Maybe it was a year or 2 ago or something. And this was exactly when I was at Turbo, going through all these changes, trying to figure out how to get my ball to not hook so much in the front. That's when I believed that layouts were more important. And as I kept changing all the layouts and kept changing things, I wasn't seeing enough of a difference. So that's when I started to actually look into, do layouts really matter? Are they that important? And now I put this together and I really look at this and I'm like, no, I've got proof in the pudding right here. I just showed everybody. They're not as important as you think they are. They are important for the initial layout, because you can put some crazy layout on a ball and make it roll bad for somebody. You put a 6.5-inch pin layout on for a ball on somebody, it's going to roll bad. It could thump over a finger or a thumb or something.
That's an extreme layout. And now you're talking.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So, I mean, I've tried with some of these extreme layouts and I've had them thump. Like and I'll even be the first to say, I've tried some of Mo's layouts on them. Some have been okay. The one I tried was on Conspiracy Theory Pearl, I think it was, the bluish purple. I don't even remember what it was. But I put an initial layout on it. It was that max flip layout that he has. It was like 20 by 3 and 3/4. I don't even remember the numbers offhand. But it was or maybe it was like 70 by 3 3/4 by 20. I don't remember what the numbers were, but it was his max flip layout. The problem was it flared the entire ball. And so when it flared the entire ball, it came back and actually hit the fingers on the other side. So I got 40 feet down the lane and started thumping and jumping. So I actually had to use one of his techniques, and I had to put a flare reducing hole in it to get it to slow down. And then it delayed it. It actually made it to where it didn't thump the hole. It didn't thump the weight hole until right when it got to the pins. So it wasn't as bad. It was okay. So I was able to fix it there a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it was just, and don't get this wrong. None of this is about calling them out or to say they're wrong. They have their opinion. They have their opinion, and that's fine. I just would appreciate not being called ignorant for having an opinion of my own. So that's just kind of where I'm going with it. Again, to rehash, layouts are important for the initial layout. Okay, So, but if you're going to try to think that you're going to get some big difference in ball motion going from a 3 3/4 inch layout to a 4 3/4 inch layout, you're not. You're really not. You may get an inch or two of overall motion but you won't be able to do with your eyes. That's it. So, whew, got that out of my system. I think we're good.
Yeah. Yeah. I will also just real quick. I don't want to go on with this anymore on it. Just to say that I want people to know that when a customer comes in our shop, it's imperative that we do get their axis measurements, because it is important to get the correct layout as far as a window. You don't want to just sit there and drill a ball for somebody and not know what their axis measurements are. So the layout is important, but I think what the topic we hit on was the overemphasis on it. That is what I see more often than not. People just spend too much time, in my opinion, overemphasizing small differences in layouts, trying to find that magical combination, dual angle combination that's going to make them be better than the guy, that's been beating them week after week. And that's not the answer. Right. So that's what. So yes, it's important. You've got to know the person's axis measurements and to get them in the right wheelhouse.
Absolutely, 100%. And where the layouts actually come into big importance is guys out on tour. The couple of guests that we have coming on today, they'll be able to tell you for sure. When it comes to tweaking layouts, and I would even guess, when we bring DJ up here, I'm gonna even guess that he probably only uses a couple of layouts and he sticks to them. I would imagine. I believe I had the conversation with him, but we'll talk to him. If you want to go ahead, you can bring him up. Let's bring DJ in here and let's see what he has to say about some of this stuff. DJ, what's happening, man? What's going on?
Hi, JR. Hey, Lee. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Doing great.
Real good. Been waiting on you, buddy. We've been missing you. We want to see your face.
Well, I've been listening to you in the background, and the last comment that you just made about only having a few layouts that I use, and you're absolutely correct.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I mean that's true story. Yeah, I have like 2 layouts that I use. Normally it's like pretty much one above the middle finger and like one lower than the middle finger. And I actually had a small issue the past like 4 or 5 tournaments. I was using my old PAP from, I don't know, it had to be like 3 or 4 years ago. And I had a couple of bad weeks in a row, and I went to Sean Ryan, who's our Storm ball rep, and I said, hey, man, something's not right. I said, I can't move in. I can't hook it anymore. I think my PAP's off. And we did a measurement, and literally in 2 minutes, it was off by, I was like I thought I was like 3.5 over, like an inch up, and it come to find out it was like 5 inches or something like that. So it made a huge difference. But yeah, JR, you are correct. I pretty much use 2 layouts, one above the middle, one far left of the middle, and one below. So yeah, it was good. Right. That's good, man.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of the time, especially, I mean, it's easiest and best to just keep it simple.
Yeah.
You just make your surface changes, and you can make a ball doing different things by using your hand, changing your rotation, changing your tilt, doing what you need to do there. So and I think that's where we need to kind of hone in on this, and that's the coach in me coming out. I coach a lot of people, and a lot of it is just about really being versatile with your hand, being able to do the right things with your hand. And I think I don't even really touch on layouts and stuff unless they specifically ask about them. And even then, I make sure to let them know, like, look, I know you want to learn these things, and that's great. I'll teach you whatever you want to know, as much as I know. If I know, whatever it is you're asking me. If I don't, I'll research it and I'll figure it out for you. But layouts, that's the least of your worries when it comes to trying to become a better bowler. You need to be trying to get better physically, and you need to understand ball surfaces more than anything, in my opinion.
Yeah, those are great. Yeah, those Aberlon pads, man. I wish they had like a stock for that, like a stock market type deal, because those things are just. I mean, people have those, like they carry around like it's their wallet or something like that. Like every time you go to a practice session or anywhere, people's just changing their surface with these Aberlon pads, and I have an opinion about those, and I'm sure we'll get into that later on in the show, or the same thing with about urethane. I just, it changes the surface of the ball so much that to me, it really, really affects the lane, right. But that's just, that's the way technology is these days. And, we just move on and, try to adjust and, kind of go from there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and one of the things that I kind of wanted to touch on when we're talking about technology and stuff and the way these new bowling balls hit the lane and they change them so much, um, uh, I would say that technology has changed, quite a bit, over the last, 25 years or so, right?
Yeah, for
And
sure.
obviously you would agree with that, right? Mostly obviously in cover stocks. I mean, a lot of people would disagree and they'd say cores have changed quite a bit, but when you're honestly looking at them and we know what we know today about ball motion, it's mostly the cover stocks that have changed ball motion the most. Um, and one of those cover stocks that's been around for such a long time that Storm loves, you know this, that
Hmm.
R2S cover, right?
Yeah,
I mean, how many bowling balls have they used that cover on? And that thing's what? Well, what year did that was? What, 96?
maybe like the
And that
virtual.
cover,
What is that? Virtual gravity, or was it even before that?
it was. I think it was before that. It was the original High Road, the
Yeah,
High Road, and all that way back. Before that, I even think it was before the High Road. Even it was in the 90s. I thought. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. But there was somebody I was talking to earlier. We were talking about some of these cover stocks that are and even cores that are still around today with all the advanced technology we have. We're
right.
still using cover stocks from back
You know,
25 years ago.
companies just find those, just like like you said, the high road, and with ebonite, the game breakers, and the stuff like that. So, yeah, I
Right.
mean those things are amazing, and using the Aberlon pads on those balls, I mean you can make them tremendously different. And like Lee said, people coming into the pro shop and purchasing bowling balls and wanting to get different layouts, this and that. But the small trick to it is learning how to use an Aberlon pad, and hopefully you guys, I know you do, JR and Lee, in the pro shop business. You guys, show your customers that.
Yeah,
Yep. It's a big
yeah,
deal.
it is.
So, talking on, I know you brought it up yourself with surface changes and urethane and all that. So why don't you go ahead, just give me, I know we've had our conversations out on, some of the stops at tour about some of this stuff and you've been asking to kind of come on and do a video with me and we just kind of we haven't connected. We haven't hooked up at all on there. And then I
Yeah,
saw the league draft the other night and I watched, sadly, as you did not get drafted. And I'm like, man, what in the world? And your name was at near the top of the list, especially at the end of the draft, and they just kept going around you. And
right,
I'm sitting there and I'm asking myself, what in the world is going on? Like some of this stuff just didn't make sense to me. And not to start any controversy or anything, because I hate that. But,
Yeah,
but what in the world? Like with some of these guys, and I'm not, no, obviously I'm not going to name names. Like obviously there's
right,
no reason to name names, but you do have to question how some people get picked over other people, and they say it's a team camaraderie thing. It's the team, but who better than you who doesn't get along with you? Who does?
right.
And that's kind of my point. Like you can't use that excuse for a guy like you. What do you get of it? What do you take out of that?
Well, first of all, I was, kind of like you said, I was shocked. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I was shocked, and at first I was a little bitter, about not getting chosen, because I've been on a team the last, I mean, probably I've only missed 1 year, so, um, but that's a good question, JR, because I really don't know. I feel like I'm a very good team player. I think the only reason why that I can come up with, and I've talked with a couple people the last couple of days, that I kind of asked them, "Well, why don't you think I got picked?" And there's a little bit of politics in it, and that's just my opinion, and that's the way I feel. But on the other end of it, I tend to be a little bit more left than anyone else is. So I don't know if that kind of played into some of the coaches or managers' strategies. But I know I've been with Barnes and those guys the last couple of years, and there never was an issue. Um, and the sad thing is I've been on I think six teams, and every time the team that I've been on has lost in that one ball Mickey Mouse roll off type thing they have. So yeah, it's just kind of, I've been on the bad end of that, like I said, six times, and you know it would have been a good opportunity for me to get back on a team this year, and have a chance to advance, and move on, to the to win that thing, because I mean that's it's not a PBA title, but it's something that I think is cool, and being in Bayside is it's an unbelievable location. They have a great time, and for all the players that did get drafted, they're going to have a good time. Just soak it all in, and just take advantage of the chance that you got, because it may not happen next time.
Right.
Yeah. It's a great atmosphere it is. I can attest to that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a lot of fun. So, seeing with no bowling going on right now, like I said, it was super disappointing, and everyone has their opinion on why I didn't get drafted, and but we'll see what happens. The picks that that went there towards the end, I thought were a little suspect, again, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens. Those guys, hopefully they do well for their teams, and they move forward.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for giving people chances. I'm not going to be one to say that none of those guys deserve it, because I think everybody on the list kind of deserves at least a chance to prove themselves. So it's really, really hard to say that one guy deserves it over another. But my question just comes always back to a guy that's been in the league for many years, has had some success with some of these teams, and has shown to be a successful professional.
Yeah, and the thing is they're bowling on the new side there, and my ball roll is really good over there. I think we bowled 2 tournaments. The double show, we actually me and Maldonado, we made that show. We actually lost to Zeke and Dick Allen, in the first game. That I think they bowled like 290, and then I bowled in that main shootout one time, and I made it to the second round. So it's not like my ball doesn't roll good there. The old side, it's a little suspect. That's where the shootout was last year, and I made the shootout too. I was top 20 in the points last year. So it's I'm really not sure. Your question just as good as mine. Maybe we can ask one of the other guests that's on the show today.
See, I like where your head's at. I like where you're leading that. So let's go ahead and bring him on. We'll bring him in. We've got Jason Couch coming to us now. Jason, what's happening? How are you?
Good. Hey guys, how are you?
Man, you look irritated already. You already know the answer. The question's coming, huh?
I'll answer a question, any question you guys want.
No, so we're just talking. Obviously, you're probably just listening again, but we were just trying to figure out, what was going on with some of the league drafts there. Some would say were questionable, so others were not. Obviously, we don't want to obviously name any names and call anybody out, because, like I said, I think everybody out there deserves a chance, and I don't think there's really necessarily a wrong pick. We're just trying to, a guy like DJ who has been, on a team for quite some years now and has been real successful in certain situations and has bowled well in that building, is a team player, very easy to get along with. I guess I'm just wondering, what were some of the decisions, like for you, for example, with him being on the board still, what was it that made you go one route over another?
Well, let me give you guys a little insight on what happens before the draft. Basically, for a week, I've got 3 guys on my team that I kept, and I've got to talk to those guys every day. And every day, it seems like that our list of guys changes. Whether it be someone brings up a point on how someone performed in that building in the past, or they bowled with them in the past and they didn't make lane moves good together. It could be anything, but it's an entire week that we go through a process. And I have to sit there and I talk to these guys. So I have to call Europe 7 days in a row to talk to Dom Barrett to understand where Dom's head's at on this. So making the pick, it's not easy. When you have a bunch of guys that you have on a list, and as they get whittled down, as soon as someone takes a player you want, you got your top of the board or your bottom of the board, you got to scratch them off. They're no longer available. So it gets very difficult. And as you get closer to the end, it gets harder and harder to make a decision. And this year's draft, I got to tell you guys, it's the oddest draft I've ever had in 8 years. I mean, just, right out of the gate, it just seemed like it kind of turned itself on its head. And, all of a sudden I'm scrambling with paperwork. If you watch that show the other night at all, I mean, I've got to have 15 pieces of paper. I'm throwing one away. I'm pulling another one out. So it's no easy task, so it's really tough to make good decisions sometimes.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that absolutely makes sense.
Hey, Jason, I have a question for you real quick.
Yeah.
What did you think about the way they did the expansion teams? Now, to me, like in sports, the expansion teams, the first year or two are really bad. like I mean, I'll use the Miami Marlins for an example. Why did they get to choose 3 people in a row? Like, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and so forth. Why wouldn't they, like, to me, and someone brought this up to me, and I'm going to use their point. Why wouldn't someone, I think it was Stuart Williams, why wouldn't someone like freeze one player, and the expansion teams could like pick a person from a team or whatever to make their teams? Why did they just get to go through and pick them? I mean, pretty much the expansion teams, they got 3. And not to say the other teams don't have 3 really good players, but I just feel like the expansion, the way they did it, was a little suspect in my opinion.
We had no say-so in how the draft was going to take place as managers. I don't know who makes those decisions. All I got was an email from Tom Clark about how it was going to go down. No, I did not like the way that the new franchises got to pick 3 guys off the bat. Unfortunately, I was the first pick from, having a rough go of it last year. It's the first time I've ever had to pick first. And to me, I didn't pick first. I picked 7th,
Right.
And I think that they should have allowed them maybe to get the 1st and 2nd pick, but then they should have pulled back and had to go to the back of the draft. And then, the snake draft would allow them to pick, closer together on the next 2 picks. Sort of like the issue I have with the defending champions. They get to pick 14 and 15, and I'm supposedly the franchise in the worst position, but I have a pick after him. I get 7, but I got to pick 22. So, honestly, we don't have a say-so in that. I think it's something that needs to be looked at. I don't know what that right call is. I don't know if there should be a lottery involved where, the worse your team does, the better chance you have of getting the first pick. It's certainly something to look at.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering because I haven't. Sorry, Lee, I didn't mean to cut you off. Yeah, I was just wondering because I never got a chance to actually ask that question to one of the managers and see kind of what they thought. So that was a good explanation. I appreciate that.
Yep.
Yeah, Jason and DJ, do you feel like there are too many protected players for each team? 3 out of 5. I mean, you're talking more than half the team is protected. Why so many?
The first couple of years we didn't have to get rid of anybody, so it felt okay. You tried to work as a team to get them better as a team. It's tough. It's really tough decision to make. I think Tim Mack would answer that better, being defending champion. He didn't get to keep his guys that he won with last year, so he does not get to defend his title, in my opinion, because it's not the same group of guys. We're very, very young into this league, and I think it's a lot of things that need to be looked at to address some situations we do have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. I think, and like Jason said, I think if a team that wins, I think they should be able to keep their whole team, defending champions and have a chance to defend their title. I think 3 now, and see, that's the thing is you don't have to keep three people. You can throw the whole team back if you want to. But I mean, pretty much every team, really either has 1 or 2 Hall of Famers on their team, and they're not going to throw those guys back in the draft because they don't want them on the other teams.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's with only 5 bowlers, being on a team, obviously, it's kind of hard to really justify, how many people you should be able to save or not. But I mean, every team every year, and it's been, has saved all 3 players.
Yeah.
So, and some of the teams have been garbage. I mean, some teams went out I'll use Brooklyn Styles for an example. I mean, they haven't made it out of the first round like any of the years, maybe like 1 year, and they kept the same 3 guys every year. I mean, at that point in time, I mean, if you're a manager of a team, you'd be like, man, my team is, and I'm just using them as an example because the couple years that I was on, I think we bowled them 1 or 2 years, and they knocked us out 1 year, and we beat them the other year. So, yeah, I mean, if you're a manager of a team, your team's getting knocked out in the first round every year. I mean, it's time to change it up.
Right. I would agree.
So what do you guys
Why
think?
do you think why don't they change it? Why don't they? You think it's, again, is it a group of guys who just, hey, we got our clique and we're going to stay together, or do they not care about winning that much?
I think it comes down to the point where if you give up a top player, and the way I understand the draft, and maybe someone can correct me here, if I throw all 5 of my guys back in, I would have got my 7th pick and my 22nd pick, and then my next 3 picks would have been in the back of the draft.
And see, to me that's not fair.
No.
So you tend to steer away from that kind of thing because you don't really want to see that happen. And I know the Brooklyn Styles have had a tough go of it, and DJ's right. They've only made it advanced 1 time out of the 8 years, and it's a tough call to make. I mean, you're going to tell Walter Ray, you're done. I'm pushing you to the side. Now, what do what happens if, hey, look, Walter's available? And, it's tough. I mean, it's really tough decision making. And we've got the same problem this year as we did last year. Even though there was 10 more people picked, we still have people that should have made the league, which tells me we need more teams. Mm-hmm. Is there going to be that way all the time? Maybe, I don't know, but there's certainly some people that have a right to be upset.
I mean, some people are going to get left out that think they should be in. I mean, that's just the way it is. Like, there's not enough. I mean, you can't make enough teams to get all the bowlers into the league. So yeah, there are going to be some upset people. But speaking, I'll just speak for myself. Like, I feel like I should be on a team this year, and I'm not, which is okay. It's the sun's going to come up tomorrow, and everything's going. Well, I'll say the sun. It's been raining here for 5 days, but yeah, the sun's going to come up tomorrow, and it's going to be a new day, and we're going to move on. But for some of the other bowlers that I thought should have got picked, I mean that they might not ever get in. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're going to get opportunity like that. But this thing is only obviously a year-round type thing and very short. I would like to see the league be a little bit longer. So I mean, in reality, you pretty much have. Before it was just, come in, you get 4 shots, and if you do good, cool. If you don't, hey, you're out of here. I've been on that end of it too. So, just, now that they added the little qualifying to, get the seedings going. And after that, you try to make the best 4 shots that you can. And, I feel like if there's a lot of pressure, for one of the first timers, there's going to be a lot of pressure, because in the back of their mind, just like it was mine when I first got drafted, I was like, man, I need to get a strike every time, or I'm going to get left out. And unfortunately, the first time I did bowl, I like the first, I think I only got like 1 strike, and the next year I didn't get drafted. So
what do you guys think of? Like certain situations where you're allowed to hold certain players. You get to pick 3 players, right? And you can get rid of them all if you want. But what about some of those players who they're holding who wouldn't have been in the top so many points? How does that work?
It's a protected player, so I guess technically it's by protecting them, you're saving them from that position. Gosh, I mean, I'm just trying to run through real quick the guys that I kept on, and I know all my guys would have been plenty good in the points for this season.
Is that Walter and Pete, JR, you're talking about?
I think that's the only 2 I can think of off the top of my head.
Right.
Who either A, didn't bowl enough to be in the points, or didn't bowl well enough. So I guess I'm just wondering, and it's really hard to keep 2 guys like that. I mean, they're legends. How are you going to keep 2 legends out? But at the same time, you are trying to keep things fair. You are trying to still keep the best bowlers in the world on this thing. So at what point do you make a rule and say, look, you can only keep players who are in the top 40 in points? Or however many, whatever the point list is.
Right.
I think it was higher this year. It was like top 70 or something.
It was a top 75. The only issue you have there is let's say we run into an Andrew Anderson issue where he was the reigning player of the year, and he has an injury, and all of a sudden he's not in the top 40 in points. You're going to tell your organization that your reigning player of the year is not going to be in their event. That's not a good thing. So, not to play devil's advocate, but you could run into issues. It probably doesn't happen very often, but it's certainly something to look at.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, and that's kind of what I was looking for was devil's advocate. I wanted to see, the other sides of this thing as to,
Sure.
some good points as to why you would keep those guys. Because obviously, my opinion is they're legends. Pete draws a crowd no matter how he's bowling. He could be bowling like garbage and he's going to draw a crowd. That's always going to be good for bowling. So same thing I guess could be said for Walter. There's so many people who they're household names when you're talking bowling. And when you have the opportunity of having them, bowl, I guess, is there a downside to it by not having them in the top, however many points? I don't know. I'm not sure if there is.
Yeah.
So it's just something to think about, I guess.
Yeah.
But
hey, Jason, quick question too. Probably a lot of people wonder this. Actually, I'm not even sure of this. How do the managers get chosen in the first place? Who gets to be a manager of the team?
I only know the fact that Tom Clark had asked me before the season started, or the original season. I'm not sure how he selected them, but he did select the first group of managers to be on there. That's all I know. I don't know if there's a bunch of board members that vote on it. I don't know, to be honest with you, Lee.
Okay, so Tom basically, as far as you know, he's the one that makes a decision on who the managers are.
That is correct.
Yeah,
I wonder as this thing grows in popularity, which obviously it has been over the last few years, if Tom and company might be able to look into possible, and nothing to say to get rid of you guys. I'm not trying to advocate for getting rid of the managers, but what if they could sell the teams off to certain companies, and then they could hire their own manager, or keep you guys as the manager, as an opportunity to bring in sponsorship dollars or whatever it may be. So like, going to, Geico or whatever and saying, hey, do you want to own a team? You could own the Brooklyn Styles for X dollars. You get to choose your manager who heads it up, whatever it may be. Is that and maybe he's already thought of that. Maybe he's tried it. I don't know. I guess I'm just asking, if you guys have thoughts on that.
I believe as long as they were outside sponsors, I believe that there may be an avenue for that. With the bowling industry and bowling manufacturers that are shrinking, I think you wouldn't want to get it lopsided to where you have one ball manufacturer with entirely too many teams. Then it becomes a commercial for them. But I would think that certainly that could be some interest. Every year that the Philadelphia Hitmen have been in the league, we've had a different sponsor on our shirts. 1 year it was Cisco. I believe High Five Gear 1 year. I know there's been some people that have come on to, LL Bean was on 1 year. So there's a bunch of different sponsors that have interest. Now, the only thing that would scare me is if you don't have anybody there that really knows too much about bowling. Are they going to know the right person to pick? Or maybe they need to, they'll need somebody to advise them on it.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, for sure.
I'm sure.
What I was thinking about.
I'm sure the PBA would absolutely love to do that. I mean, it's just that the sponsors need to want to do it as well. You've got to. I know it costs a lot of money. I just don't know who's out there that wants to get involved like that. It's a fantastic idea. I know I'd be interested. I just don't know if BowlerX could afford it. To be honest with you.
I think, Lee. I think that Coley Edison, our new CEO, is going to. I think she's going to take big steps in the industry. Especially with the tour. She's very, very intelligent. She really loves, the PBA. She loves, all the bowlers. So I would be surprised, in at a few years if something like that doesn't come about, because she's really hands on and she's going forward, with the whole PBA thing. So she's I think she's a good person to have in charge right now.
Mm-hmm. I have had some discussions with her, and like I said, I know that is something we would love to see happen. And obviously, I think all bowlers that watch the PBA League, myself included, who doesn't want to see, A, the team be sponsored and more money involved, and B, really have their own home centers. That comes up all the time, and I don't want to beat a dead horse because I know the PBA wants that to happen. And it's just making it happen. The idea is to have each league team have their own home center. And then actually, the league goes on throughout the whole year. You don't just bowl 1 week at Bayside, which, Bayside's fantastic. But, let's face it, Portland's the home team and no one else has a home.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a home field advantage.
Kind of. I mean,
it is, because I was on I was on the Portland team, 2 years ago, and yeah, I mean the place was just going crazy. I felt like, we did have an advantage. I mean, they're cheering and yelling and screaming the whole time, and I would like to see it like the Europe, like how they do the leagues over there. Talking with those overseas guys and how they do a lot of traveling around for their league,
Right.
and that would make a lot of sense. But I'm not the one in charge, and so that's someone who's a lot smarter than I am.
Yeah, I know it's a big cost. It's a cost factor. I mean,
Yeah.
logistics, travel, having a host center that wants to host a team. I mean, being able to have events at your own center, and take advantage of the players you have on your team. You could do fundraisers. You could have events where you bring in maybe the local league bowlers to do something where they bowl against the home team. It could be so many things you could do, but you can't do that the way it is now. So
I agree with that 100%, Lee.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you though, with oh, there he is. He came back.
Good.
Welcome back.
Sorry, guys. Too many devices in the couch house.
So I got to tell you, talking about Coley and her role with the PBA and all that, I think she has quite an advantage, being that they are involved with so many bowling centers. They have so many TV screens, so many areas, so many centers for advertising, sponsors, all that stuff. And when she's able to, present to Fox and have Fox present to whoever the sponsors are and say, look, here's how many TVs in my centers I have. Here's how many centers I have. Here's how many different areas, different advertisements we can do. Here's the benefit. Now I'm going to be running flow bowling in every center that I have. All the pro shops that are in my centers are going to be running flow bowling. So you can sponsor in any way. I think she's got so many different areas that she can connect with these sponsors a little bit better than what we had before, where we were kind of at the discretion of home centers, bowling centers. And I know I ran into a lot of situations where it was time for bowling to come on TV, and I have to beg the front counter to get the TV to come on. And they're like, well, the baseball game's on, or the football. You've got 40 TVs going across. You can't put one on the bowling? Like, really?
Right.
Like, I mean, I get it. People love football and all that stuff, but at the same time, it's brutal. I got into a couple of different arguments with people, at the bowling centers where they just didn't want to change the channel and put bowling on for us. You work in a bowling center. What are you doing? What is wrong with you? Support the sport. But,
We put it on during league. I have a TV that's on the outside wall of our pro shop, and we have the computer hooked up to it in the shop. And during league nights, I mean, we've got bowling events on all the time.
That's when you have like 50 people in your pro shop just standing around watching TV.
Watching TV, yeah. Yep. They gather around in between shots in league, and they go walk up to the TV, see what's happening.
Yeah. Sure, I remember when I was in college, and one of the PBA shows would come up. What is that?
That is my smoke detector going off. Maybe I should leave the premise.
What is Krista burning now? Is she cooking and burning?
Water.
She's burning water. Unbelievable. But no, I remember back in college, when the TV show would come on, a lot of bowlers would stop bowling and watch the TV shows in the middle of a tournament. We'd be watching and not paying attention. We'd get yelled at because we're not paying attention because we're watching the TV show. The one year it was the Masters when George Lambert made it and Dougie Fresh ended up winning when he was up with Hammer, and we were sitting there watching because George was a Wichita State bowler at the time, so we were really invested in that show, knowing one of our fellow college bowlers was out there bowling for a Masters title. It was really cool. It was really something back in those days. And that was past the prime. Like that was back when bowling sucked, more or less. It's getting better, I think. In my opinion, I think things are getting better.
Sure.
But we all know what my opinion means to most people nowadays. So, but I don't know. I guess we'll end on that question for you too. I mean, in the direction of the PBA with everything that's happened with Fox Sports and then the Bolero, acquisition there. How do you think things are moving? Do you think they're going in the right direction? And be as honest as you can. You can say no without pissing people off, but I mean, however you guys feel.
Jason.
Go ahead, BJ. Go ahead.
I mean, I think it's in the right direction, honestly, right now. The first I made an opinion to a couple of people whenever we started, whenever the whole Bolero took over the PBA. And I think for the first, 2 or 3 years, I think it's going to be really, really good until they kind of see, what's going to go, what direction they're going. They have a lot of money, and a lot of money is what it takes to have a successful business, as you guys know that. So they might be in for the long haul. I mean, again, I don't know, but I definitely like the direction that it's going right now, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say, I really like the direction it's going. I loved having ESPN involved in it, but since the PBA has moved to Fox, the ratings are better. They're doing a better job explaining launch angle and ball speed and adjustments on the lane. I think they're doing a little better job at that. I see upside. I've seen upside in the last 2 years with the USDC actually having more bowlers than they've had the previous 2-3 years. I think bowling's back on the uptick where it needs to be. Every sport goes through a cycle in this world, and I think bowling was down for a while, but I think it's back on the way up. I just hope this pandemic doesn't slow it down, which unfortunately it looks like it will. But bowling's very resilient. We've been around a long time.
Yeah, but I have to say, with already some states starting to open up a little bit and some bowling actually going on around the country, we've already seen an increase in our sales already. I mean, it's already people are anxious to get back, as far as my feeling goes. And I know one of our promoters at the center has been making phone calls to a lot of league bowlers who obviously had their season ended abruptly, and talking about next year and also wrapping up what happened last year. And we've actually got people, people can't come into the bowling alleys here yet. But we've got people asking, hey, I know what's going on, but is there any way I can come in and bowl? I mean, they want to bowl. So it's encouraging. I think things are going to be really fine on the other side of this. It's a good feeling.
Yeah, and I agree. I think everything is moving in a pretty good shape. I mean, I already said that. I think everything's going to be improving here over time. If I do have one pessimistic viewpoint on this, I'll go back to when Microsoft and those guys bought the PBA. They dumped a ton of money into it, right? They put all this money into added prize funds and everything else, and it basically did nothing. It pretty much it didn't move the needle at all, except built a nice debt for that ownership at the time. So I just don't want to see a repeat of that again. And I don't know the details of what happened there, obviously. I'm not involved enough there. That's just what I heard was, we saw the uptick in the prize funds and everything with them putting money in it at that point. But I just don't want to see a repeat of history of, a new ownership coming in, dumping a bunch of money into it, and then it not going anywhere. I think Bolero came in at the right time with the Fox deal. I think the Fox deal has made their own improvements that has made it much more enjoyable, in my opinion, to watch. And I think Bolero coming in is just going to add to it. So I'm more optimistic than anything in the future of the sport. I do agree with Jason on this whole pandemic thing. I think it's going to nip bowling just a little bit. People are going to be a little edgy going back into the bowling centers at first, but I think it'll pan itself out here over time. So, but anyway, so I think we could end with the guests here. I just have one more thing that I want to show you, kind of more of a promo type situation. We've got that new training tool that I wanted to show everybody. If you haven't already seen the video of our new training tool, we're almost sold out of these things already. We've sold, we did a limited quantity of 25 for this first sell. We've sold 19 in 2 days. So we've only got 6 left that can go out. So I'm going to share my screen again. I'm only going to show you bits and pieces of this, but I want you guys to be able to see this so you can see where we're going with this training tool, what we're trying to do, and hopefully we can make bowlers that much better all around here. So we pull this back up again.
Stick around, guys, too. I want to ask you one more thing quick.
Okay. I'm just going to show you real quick here. Can you guys hear it?
No.
Okay, well, that's okay. But anyway, I'm going to skip forward, and you'll see where we're going with this. So you actually can apply oil to this thing. So we designed this in order to be able to practice at home and be able to put oil on it. So we coated it just like an actual bowling lane with the logo and everything, with the railings here, what I call the turnbuckles. And you're able to actually do no-step drills, work on your release, find your positive access point, which some people had pointed out it may change from standing there. I never noticed a difference in my positive access when I stood at the foul line and threw a ball based compared to throwing it from the back. But when you actually throw the shot on here, it spins off of it, and you can see it come back on the railings right back to you. So you can pretty much practice at home and do all the things with a real bowling ball. I know I've seen a lot of people have actually used throwing it into couches, throwing it into pillows, but you don't get to see the ball spin through a lane, through the front part of the lane, and be able to track your ball roll properly, whereas this will give you the opportunity to actually track it properly, find your positive axis, watch the positive axis migrate a little bit in the front, or even just where it's spinning so you can see your tilt and all that stuff, so you can work on different releases all the way through. So if we move back through here, you can see the slow-mo here where you can see my axis spinning. The ball spins through the oil just like on a normal lane, and it just wraps around, and I can throw it over and over again, practicing my releases and just getting better and better with this tool. So hopefully I can show you these last couple of shots here on it as I'm still blabbing. So you can do it on your knees, you can do it standing up. You know, all these drills all of you bowlers have done before, to where you can actually just throw a ball from the foul line and work on your specific release, work on different releases, work on whatever it is that you want to work on. So let me forward through here so you can see a couple more shots on it. Shut up, JR. Throw the ball. Goodness. All right, here we go. So we'll throw it a couple more times so you guys can see how it actually works. But you can actually see the ball spin through the oil on the lane, which is pretty cool. So it's a whole lot better than just throwing it on carpet or a wood floor or something where you can actually damage some things or damage your bowling ball. So it's a pretty neat little gadget there, I think, in my opinion. So
it is.
I mean, we sold so many of them so fast. I wasn't expecting it. So we're doing pre-orders on them, and then we're gonna, ship them out as quick as possible here, hopefully within the next couple of weeks. But I kind of wanted to just point that out. I mean, what do you guys think of that? I mean, you guys have coached a little bit before. Do you see that as a benefit to the bowlers? Honestly.
I think so. That was pretty cool looking, JR. It's better than throwing it on the floor, like you said, or outside or somewhere where you can actually see what your ball is doing. So yeah, I mean, I think that's a tremendous upgrade from, watching people throw it, like I said, on the carpet, into the wall, with like a mattress down, so you can actually tell what your ball's doing. So yeah, I think that's a really cool gadget, actually.
Yeah, they come with actually their own bottle of oil, so you'll actually get oil with it, and you'll get a towel. And then we have a pro kit as well, where you can get an armadillo and a pro sack with it, and so that way you have the tools to do your own measurements and all that stuff too. So you actually can oil your own lane, throw your shots at home, take your own measurements, and then walk into the pro shop, or just go over to BowlerX.com and you can have Lee drill your bowling balls because you already have your specs. So it makes getting better that much easier. What do you think, Jason?
I like any kind of device that's going to give instant feedback. Being a Kegel training center rat for all my life and watching the things they've designed to get, it's just, I love instant feedback and I love to be able to work on it right away. So anything like that can help improve bowlers, it should be a good thing.
What does something like that cost, JR?
Right now we've got it up. The cost of this is actually high for us because it's made of the best quality wood. It's actually edge glued, so it's made to be super, super durable, to where you should only ever have to get one of these throughout your lifetime. The only thing I think could possibly go wrong with it is maybe the actual turnbuckle maybe bending at some point over a long period of time, because I haven't done extended testing on it. But other than that, I mean, if somebody has a problem, I think we would probably try to take care of it for them. But on the website right now, we can actually, they're $199 for the basic kit. You get the actual board and everything with it, and you get the oil and a towel with it. And then we have that pro kit. How much was that, Lee? It was $329. $329 gets you the armadillo and the pro set.
Well.
And the one thing I want to touch on, I think it's really cool. I didn't really mention a whole lot about like pro shops being able to use these. I think these would be good in pro shops because at night when leagues are going on and you have customers coming in, you can't find their positive access because the lanes are taken out. So having one of these in the pro shop would actually be a benefit as well. And then especially if you're a freestanding shop where you don't have a bowling center, you're not in a bowling center, this would be perfect for you to be able to find somebody's positive access, see how they roll the ball, and even do a little coaching and teaching with them when they first get their ball. Test how that thumb feels coming off rather than throwing it on the carpet to somebody or to you. Now you'll be able to test, do a lot more testing, real time testing rather than just, like I said, throwing it on the carpet. So I think it's going to be pretty cool. I'm pretty excited to, I'm not excited to actually have to package them up and ship them out, but I'm excited to actually get these out to people. I think it's going to be really cool.
Yeah. No, a good handful of the initial orders are pro shops.
Oh, really? Good.
Yes. Before we wrap up, too, two things I want to just quick questions. Number one is I know a lot of people, not everybody could watch the draft. Obviously, it was on Flow Bowling. It's a paid subscription. I'm not going to get into that. But there was a little banter going on between Jason and Bill O'Neill. Bill was really razzing Jason a lot. Like in the beginning, he basically said his team has underperformed for a number of years, and mainly because of his say lack of coaching skills. And then when he made the pick of Matt Ogle, he went on to say that Matt's career is probably going to be over after joining this team. What's going on there?
Well, I guess we can start with Bill Line. He did say that we've had a bad run as the Philadelphia Hitmen. 2 years ago, we finished second. We lost in the title match. So William's wrong as usual. Second of all, Bill is trying to pay me back because I was on a podcast last month and I called him a scumbag. And people want to know why I called him a scumbag. And anybody that didn't hear it, Bill O'Neill used to be a Redskins fan like I am. And DJ will tell you this. DJ knows I'm a Redskins fan, and Billy was a Redskins fan. Well, the year that the Eagles won the Super Bowl, Billy decided to jump on the bandwagon. And where I come from, you either go strong or you go home with the team that you've always rooted for. So that's why I called Billy a scumbag. So it's just a little repayment on Billy's behalf. And I can't wait for my team to start getting a little better so we can start thumping those Eagles on a regular basis. And we won't talk about the Dallas Cowboys because they're losers to begin with.
Easy. The thing is, Couch, what's crazy about Couch, and he is a Redskins fan, but every jersey he has in his closet, they don't play for them no more. They get shipped away. So Couch has 30 Redskins jerseys, and none of the players are on the Redskins anymore. So
I got the Forrest Gump jinx on the jerseys.
Yeah, so I'm sure he'll be wearing the Dwayne Haskins jersey this year. Proud and loud, and that weekend when the Cowboys play the Redskins, they usually play each other a couple times a year, and he'll send a picture of him in his jersey and won a beer bet, and when the Cowboys are up by 30 at the half, he just kind of stops answering his phone.
They're going to ruin your Thanksgiving Day this year, player.
I'm not sure. I mean, we can have our normal side bet.
It's on.
All right, sounds good.
And last question, I just want to ask, who's the best team? What's the best lineup in your opinion? Who's the strongest? Both of you.
Couch, you can go ahead and answer that, and I'll answer after you.
Well, I've got to go with the guys that have been there the most at this point, which is going to be the experience, and it's going to be, the Dallas Strikers. They seem to be rock solid every year. Norm keeps picking himself, and every year I think Norm's not going to be as competitive as he was, and every year he proves me wrong. And on paper, I feel like those guys and the experience, those guys are quite capable of winning at any time.
Yeah, I'm gonna man, that Portland team with with Wes's health, if he gets his health back in, he's had a lot of knee issues over the last couple of years, and this past year he had some arm issues, but that three right there with Kyle, Prather, and Wes, I would probably say the Strikers have more, obviously Hall of Famers with Bill, Tommy, and Norm. So their team is probably my pick to win if I had to lay money on it, and I am a gambler. So I would bet on the Strikers, but I wouldn't put it past Portland to be back again.
All right, so to finish up, I got to know, Jason, what team actually would get better with DJ on the team? Because obviously DJ should be on a team. What team would get better with him?
Man, that's an awful hard question.
You don't have to remove anybody. Don't say any names.
No, but that's an awful hard question. With the I would have to probably go with the 2 expansion teams right out of the get-go. I think that none of those guys have really bowled together, so they're not going to know what to expect. Are they going to get to practice together if it is one day? How are you going to know the guy's moves on the lane? DJ's been around long enough that he's bowled enough years on tour. He's bowled with everyone out there. And, I think that he would have been a good improvement there. I honestly thought in the draft that I thought that Motown was going to take DJ with their second pick. And when they didn't, I was kind of shocked. But and then I honestly thought he was a lock to go with the last 4 picks in the draft. So I was as shocked as anybody.
Yeah, I mean, I was super shocked by it too, and I know DJ, you feel the same way. So I don't want you to think that obviously that nobody feels the same way. I mean, obviously we're all here in your corner. Us more so than Jason, because Jason was one that didn't pick you. So we're more in your corner than he is.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. All good. Next year, I guess look at what happened with Andrew. Andrew didn't get picked, and he went out and was Player of the Year next year. So now you got something to prove, right?
Yeah, definitely something to prove with a little chip on. But I mean, that's the thing. Like, I'm not that type of person to really go out there and, bowl with a chip on my shoulder. I'm going to go out there and do the best that I can and just kind of let the cards fall, and where they may. But so if I have a good year, I can look back and be like, this might be the thing that I really needed to kind of get me going. And, I've been doing a little bit more, kind of exercising and stuff like that during this whole shutdown. So trying to get back in a little bit better shape and whatnot. And maybe that helps me. And, maybe that oil machine that the PBA has will start putting some oil like around the 3rd or 4th arrow instead of, and put it down the lane instead of, 22 feet like it is every week. So we don't have to use those urethane balls.
Man, that right there, that comment is exactly why I wanted Ronnie Russell on the show with you, because that man has his opinions about the lane patterns for sure. That could have gone.
I mean, it's cool. I mean, real quick, I know we're kind of going over, the allotted time, but I mean, it's cool to use them, once or twice, out of 5 or 6 weeks. But I mean, this past year, I mean, for me, I had to use it every week. Like, I mean, the lanes were just too flat in the middle, and I should probably learn how to bowl with it better or learn how to change my game. But I mean, I've been bowling this way for so long that it's really difficult for me. And and I'm honest. I mean, and everyone knows that. Like everyone knows that, I don't really like it, but I've gotten better with it over the years. And because before, I was pretty much dead the first 3 or 4 games in a block, and I had to try to catch up at the end. But now I've gotten better with it, and to where I can kind of keep up. But with only bowling like 5 or 6 games, the lanes just never really, when the lanes are so flat and not enough oil gets pushed down and stuff like that, it's just it's really hard for me. And people are probably saying, well, you should learn how to bowl, blah blah blah, this and that. But I mean, that's just the way I am. I'm fairly hard-headed. I have some people in my corner that help me and try to get me to learn. And I mean, and I'm 39 and I'm still learning, every day. I mean, these guys on tour are unbelievable, so looking up to those guys and helping, them helping me to get better at doing that. And, we'll see what happens, but I have my opinion on that.
Yeah. And, DJ, if you're open to it, next week at 7:00 on Tuesday, we're going to have Ron Hicklin come in, and we're going to talk a little bit about ball dynamics, his opinion on layouts and all that stuff as well. But first, I mean, if you're okay, I'd like to have you back again next week so we can kind of dive into this subject that we just gave a little snippet on, with lane play, lane patterns, and all that stuff. If you're okay with coming back next week, I'll have you back next week as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to wear my welcome out, but yeah, I'd love to be on here because I think Ron is a very intelligent gentleman. So I'd like to hear what he has to say and, maybe learn some things. So yeah, if you guys will have me back, I would love to be back on.
Awesome. Good. We'll have you back next week then for sure. But we are going to end this one tonight. We're going to get out of here for the night. I think Lee.
Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. I got it. We've got like people just keep on asking. Let's just appease them here. Everyone wants to know what Jason's all lefty team would be for the league.
Oh, all lefty team currently, or?
Well, they're not saying. It says
Let's make it currently.
I would say
Currently.
Currently. Oh boy. Jacob Buttroff goes right up there. Jesper Svensson goes right up there. Ryan Simonelli goes right up there. Gosh, I haven't seen Bolin in a while, guys. Good Lord.
I mean, you've picked Matt Sanders before, so you might want to put him in there.
Matt's another good one. He knows how to throw urethane and reactive as well. And then another guy that I like that I don't know much about is Packy. Packy seems like he's very competitive and has that burning desire. So those would be my guys.
Yeah, you could throw in like Michael Holloman had a pretty good year. Another good powerful lefty.
AJ Rice. I keep forgetting about AJ because I haven't seen bowling in a while.
Right. Yeah. Well, you're going to be bowling here coming up soon. I know you've been practicing. You're past your surgeries and stuff now. You've done your rehab. You're getting better with your knees. So you're going to be bowling the PBA 50 stuff coming up here as soon as you're able to, right?
Yeah, that is correct. As soon as they get a schedule back in place after this pandemic, we're going to be back to bowling. I'm ready to go, and I'm going to try and bowl as much as I can.
Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Hopefully it's at the Hard Rock every week.
Perfect. All right. Well, guys, I appreciate you coming out. Thank you so much for all of your input and your knowledge. I know everybody in the chat definitely appreciates you guys. DJ will have you back again next week. But for now, this is going to be the end of episode 4 for our live stream at BowlerX.com. Make sure to head over to BowlerX.com. Get everything you need over there. Use that discount code we were flashing over there. If you don't know it, you better head over and find out for sure. And get yourself one of those trainers. We've only got 6 left. Probably by now, we probably have less than that left. So we will see you guys next week, 7 p.m. for episode 5. So thanks, guys. We'll see you guys later.
Thank you.
Thank you.